All right, now we're going to start on the section where we will actually build an automata box. This video is one that I did a few summers ago while I went through the Project Lead the Way training. So we're going to build this box. We build some different shapes cam, and what we're doing is looking for movement. And this was just a really simple one. I did it in one afternoon. We'll have more time to get creative in class with it. But first, we're going to build this in Onshape. And then we've got the materials in the classroom to build this when we get back to school, hopefully maybe sometime next semester. And then we'll actually be able to build them. All right, so in Onshape, we're going to have several different files for this. So I'm going to go ahead and set up a folder. So click Create, Folder, and I'll call this Automata. Open the folder. I've got nothing in there because I just made it. Right? Now we're going to create a document. And I'm going to call this the box. Now when we build the box, we'll have a top with at least 2 holes. Now when you build your box, you may want 3, 4, 5 rods in there moving up and down, depending on how creative you get. But we want a minimum of 2. And so for this lesson, we're going to go with 2 holes in the top of the box. We have a hole in each side that the camshaft goes through, that the cams are attached to. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and click on the front here. Click Sketch. And we can actually make the parts pretty quickly on this because they're all squares and rectangles. So I'll move this right up here out of the way. So our 2 sides are 4x4 squares with a 3/8 inch hole right in the center. Okay. So I'll click on my rectangle. Doesn't matter if we do the 2-point or the center point. I'm just doing the 2-point. I left click, I drag out. When I release, that bottom one has a rectangle around it, so I'm just going to type in 4, enter. Now I want the side to be 4, enter. Okay. All right, so that gives me my square. Now I'm going to put a circle. I'm going to put a hole right in the center of it. So I left click and drag out. I release. I want this to be 3/8. So I'm going to do 3 divided by 8. Enter. Now I want it to be centered. So I'm going to use the dimension. Click on the center of the circle. Click on the edge. And make that 2 inches. Click on the center. Click on the edge. Make that 2 inches. All right, now, even though we have 2 sides, I just have to make this once in Onshape, and then when we do our assembly, I can just put it in there twice. All right, now I'm going to click back up here on my rectangle. The top and the bottom are going to be 5.5 inches by 4 inches. So I'm going to make my rectangle. Just going to make that 5, enter, by 4, enter. Okay. Now this one I'm going to need to make twice because I want to have holes in the top of it. So I'm going to go ahead and make another one. And again, I'm going to make that 5 by 4. Oops, let me need to make that a little bit farther away. I'm going to click right here. All right, try again. 5, enter. 4, enter. Okay. I want to make 2 1/4-inch holes. As far as their spacing going left to right, it really doesn't matter, but they do need to be centered this way. So if I move my cursor over here on this line, I can get that center dot right there, and I can just slide over. And I want to make that 0.25, so I click, oops, not 25, 0.25. Enter. Same thing over here. Get that center. We'll come straight out. Click again, make that 0.25. Now I'm going to go ahead and kind of space these evenly. So I'm going to make them 1.25 inches away from each side. So I'm going to click on the dimension button, or the dimension tool, click on the center of the circle, click on the edge, make that 1.25 inches, and then the same thing on this side. I'll click on the center of the circle, click on the edge, make that 1.25 inches. And now we're going to make the back, which kind of goes inside, and actually these lengths should be 5.5 inches. So we're going to need to go back. All I have to do is just double click, type in 5.5 inches, double click on this one, 5.5, enter. All right. Now the back is going to be 5 inches by 4 inches. So I'm going to click on the rectangle again. Type in 5, enter, by 4, enter. Okay. So now I've got my top right here with the holes in it, the bottom. This one I'm going to use for both the sides, and we've got the back. And so the wood that we use is 1/4 inch thick. So I'm going to extrude it 0.25 inches. You can see we've extruded it 0.25 inches. So I click OK. All right, now I'm going to come down here and click on the Assembly tab. If it's not there, you can always click on plus, this plus sign over here, and click Create Assembly. Yeah, so we've got options over here. It's already there, so I'm just going to click on that. And I come up here on the left side. I'm going to click Insert. Click on Part 1. And kind of drag it over here. And kind of make this a little bit smaller. Click on Part 1 again. And I'm just going to kind of put over here to the side for right now. Part 2. This is the bottom. I'll just kind of slide it down here. Part 3. That's the top. And I'll put Part 4 in after I've assembled these. So I'll click on the check mark. Now I don't want, I'm going to kind of use this as my base. I don't want this moving around. So I'm going to come over here and click on this. I right click on part. Let me start this all over again. Okay, so if I come over here to Part 1, and if you're not sure which is Part 1, 2, 3, or 4, we click on that, it shows us, hey, it highlights Part 1 over here. So now I'm going to right click, I'm going to click Fix. Okay, so now when I try to move it, it doesn't move. The other parts, I can move around. This one doesn't move. All right, now we're going to have to use some constraints. I want to put this top up here on top of this one. I'm going to zoom in a little bit closer here. And I want it to be fixed. So I want it to be fastened to it. I don't want it to move around. We've got different types of way we can attach it. We can use a revolve mate, which we'll use when we put the cam in. We've got the slider, where it can move up and down, which we'll use when we put the followers in, the ones in the top hole. But we don't want the top moving around. We want it glued to the top here. I'm going to click on Fixed. Now you can see as we move on top of these planes right here, it gives us these dots, and these are our connecting dots. So we want to let Onshape know what points we want to connect. So I'm going to come over here on the face of this. Now I don't want to just be on the edge right here. I don't want it to be the single line. I want it to be actually on the plane, so the whole plane is highlighted. We've got dots going all the way around. And I want to click on this center dot right here. Now we'll zoom in a little bit. Okay. I'm going to come up here on the top. And this is the outside edge right here. I want it to be on the outside edge of the side. So I click right there. With that dot. Let's try again. Oh, I'm sorry. I want it to be fastened, not fixed. I want it to be fastened. So let's go back. All right. Sorry. I need to click on the Fasten Mate. So I'll click on that point. And that point. All right. Not really exactly what I wanted there. It's kind of put it in an odd spot. So if I click on this, that's going to move it at least up on the top now. So it's on the top where I want it. And then I can use this to kind of rotate it around until it's in the right spot. And that's the way I want it. So I've got the top sitting right up there on top the way it needs to be. Now I'm going to do the same thing with the other side. Again, I want it to be fastened, not the mate connector. I want it to be fastened. So I'm going to use the fasten. Come on the plane. I'm going to click on that center dot. I'm going to kind of rotate this around. And again, I want to be, might have to zoom in a little bit because I don't want to click on the line. I need it to be, I need the plane to be highlighted. And that dot. Get it back here in view. All right, so that one lined up the way we wanted it to. So I don't need to make any adjustments to that one. So I click OK. Now I need to do the same thing with the bottom piece. Click on Fixed. And rotate it around. You might have to zoom in, but I want to make sure that all four sides are highlighted in yellow. I'm going to click on this outside point right here. And click on this outside point right here. Okay. Now again, it kind of ended up in an odd position. It's kind of stuck down in there. So I click on this arrow. That's going to move it up on top. And then I want to rotate it around. All right. So now I've got my box here. I just need to put the back in. So I'm going to come over here and insert. And part 4 was the last part that I made, which was the back. So I click on that. Just kind of drag it over here. Click the green check. Now this goes inside here. So the back of this is flush with the back here. All right. So again, I want to do the fastened. Let's zoom in here. I don't want the single line like it is right there. So I might need to rotate it around so that it highlights the plane. I'm going to click on this outside edge right here. Drag this down. And click on that point right there. All right. Again, it's kind of done that weird thing. So I'm going to rotate it this way. Change it that way. And yours may not line up exactly the way that mine do. Okay, so you just kind of need to use these 2 controls right here until you get it in the right spot. So click OK. All right, so we've got all right, well, actually, I messed up on this back part. I'm going to fasten 4. Right click and edit. All right, so I'm going to need to offset this. And if we look at it, it gives us our different axis. We've got our Z axis that would move it out this way. We've got our Y axis, which would slide it this way, or our X axis, which is going to slide it in this way. So I actually want to move along the X axis. And I know the board is 1/4 of an inch wide. It's 0.25 inches. So on the X axis, I'm going to put in 0.25, enter. Whoops. I'm not sure why it slid sideways, though. Let's change that back to 0. Let's see what happens if we put in the Z. No, I'll put that back at 0. Oh, this was the X up here on top. Okay. I clicked on the Y the first time. So I was right. It was the X. Yeah, kind of apologize. I've used Inventor for years, and I'm still sort of learning the Onshape. So let's do the 0.25. There we go. Yeah, so it was the X-axis. Isometric view. And we've got our box there. So on the next one, we will start making the cam.